My sister's husband is trying to pretend that my trans daughter doesn't exist, and that she should stop trying to be someone she isn't, and he's started to pass his beliefs to his son, so I'm going to stop existing in their life. So, I, 34F, have a preteen daughter, 11F, who is a trans girl. She hasn't started puberty blockers yet, but she's already made a lot of changes. Wearing dresses, growing out her hair, and speaking in a more feminine voice. She's thriving, and I'm so proud of her for being herself. However, things have gotten pretty complicated with my sister, Sarah's, family, and I'm wondering if I'm in the wrong for how I've been handling things. Sarah has always been more than just a sister to me. Growing up, we didn't have a dad, and our mom struggled with addiction. Sarah basically raised me, and when I had my daughter, she was always there for us. After our mom got sober, she's been clean for 10 years now, she rejoined the family, but Sarah's been like a second mom to me and my daughter. That's why this situation is so hard for me, and I really don't want to cause any rifts. Sarah's husband, Tim, is very conservative, and while I've never heard him directly say anything hateful about my daughter or trans people, I overheard him once, thinking I was in another room, saying that trans people don't exist and that my daughter should dress like a boy until she's 18. That moment really stuck with me, but I didn't confront him about it because I was so shocked. A while back, my daughter and I went to a family dinner at Sarah's. Everything was fine until my nephew, Sarah's son, 12, said something that really hurt my daughter. He told her she wasn't a girl and that she had male genitalia because God gave it to her. This was devastating for my daughter, and we had to leave early because she was crying. I didn't want to make a scene, but I could tell my daughter was crushed. The next day, I met with Sarah for coffee and told her what happened. She was incredibly apologetic and promised that it would never happen again. She assured me that Tim didn't share those views, and that she was unaware he was transphobic until my daughter's transition started. I appreciated her trying to be supportive, but when we went back for the next family dinner, things took a turn. During dinner, we all held hands to pray, and when it came time for my daughter to join in, my nephew refused to hold her hand. He called her a gross tranny. I didn't hear this directly, but my daughter came to me afterward, upset and crying. My nephew seemed confused and didn't say anything when I asked him about it, but I trust my daughter. She's not the type to lie about something like that, she just wants to be accepted. Sarah claims my nephew didn't say anything, but I'm not sure what to think. I know she doesn't share Tim's views, but at the same time, I can't ignore the possibility that Tim's influence is seeping into the kids, even if it's not being said outright. Since then, I've been avoiding family gatherings because I just don't feel it's a safe environment for my daughter. I don't want her to go through more hurtful moments like this. I don't want to cause a rift with Sarah. She's been such a huge part of my life and my daughter's life, and the thought of breaking up our family over this is devastating. But at the same time, I have to protect my daughter and make sure she feels accepted and loved. So, am I the jerk for not spending time with Sarah's family? I feel like I'm doing what's best for my daughter, but I don't want to damage the relationship with my sister either. Update. Apologies for not responding sooner to comments. The attention this post received was overwhelming, and I needed some time to process it all. To those who message me individually, asking questions about trans people and their experiences, while I can tell some of you are genuinely curious, I can't help but suspect that for others, it's a way to project more transphobia under the guise of understanding. If you're genuinely interested in learning, there are countless resources available online that can give you a far deeper, more articulate understanding of the trans experience than I can. I know this firsthand from helping my own daughter, and I encourage you to explore those resources. Now, onto the update. I knew that I'd have to talk to my sister eventually, but I really appreciate all the advice and support that came through in the comments. It was invaluable. I had a one-on-one conversation with my sister, where I explained that her family was not providing a safe space for my daughter. I told her that I loved her and wanted to maintain our relationship, but that I couldn't continue to be in contact unless there were significant changes. She was understandably upset and defensive, particularly of her son. She fixated on the dinner incident, while I tried to explain that it wasn't just about that one event. There were other instances, like my nephew asking my daughter why she didn't want to go to heaven or asking me if she was mentally ill. Sarah, my sister, was there for both of those moments, so I was shocked she hadn't seen the pattern herself. Yesterday, my sister reached out and asked if we could meet with her and Tim. She apologized for not listening earlier and said she wanted to find a solution. I agreed, and they came over after work. We sent our daughter to the neighbors. She didn't need to be part of that conversation. When they arrived, they were surprised that our daughter wasn't there. I told them that the conversation could be harmful to her, even if they didn't understand why. Tim was visibly upset, but I asked them if they were really ready for this conversation, and they both said they were. The conversation itself was difficult, to say the least. Tim did most of the talking. I brought up a comment I had overheard him say, that my daughter should just be a boy until she's 18. He asked me why my daughter couldn't just be normal until she was old enough to make her own decisions. I asked if he had ever done any research about trans youth to genuinely understand what my daughter is going through. He said he had all the information he needed and started going off on a diatribe about puberty blockers, which, by the way, my daughter isn't even on. I told him that we were taking her transition seriously, that she goes to therapy every other week and is involved in a local queer support group where she can talk to other trans girls and women about their experiences. Tim's response was that they were the blind leading the blind. At that point, my husband, who is usually calm and collected, was so upset that he yelled at them to leave. We'd never seen him like that before, and I think that made them realize how serious the situation was. They scurried out pretty quickly after that. This morning, my sister called, crying and apologizing profusely. She was disgusted by Tim's behavior and asked me what she should do. I told her that I didn't know, but I was certain that our families couldn't spend time together until something changed. I'm especially let down because, for a moment, the meeting gave me hope. But Tim completely shattered that hope. He didn't even try. He went off on so many horrible things, not just transphobic, but also sexist and homophobic. It was hard to follow because he just veered from one hateful rant to another. It's difficult to imagine that someone with that mindset has the capacity to grow or change. While that conversation was deeply painful, I'm also grateful it was so clear. It's never been more obvious what needs to happen, and I don't feel any guilt about it anymore. Thank you to everyone who gave advice, support, and validation. Your words helped me clear up the fog of what-ifs that was clouding my judgment and gave me the confidence to move forward. I appreciate every single one of you who supported my family. Thank you. Op has since stated that she has decided on a way forward.